Dave! Doc Hallen's been killed.
Doc Hallen, what happened?
It's over at his place. You gotta come now.
Oh, wait a minute, Steve. Tell us what happened.
Well, I'm trying to tell you. Now, this thing had killed the doc.
Well, what was it? Stop with it, kid.
Well, it's kind of like a mass that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater. Two teenagers see it first, like a falling star from outer space.
Boy, that was close. Hey, come on. I want to see if I can find it.
An old man finds it, touches it, and this is the shocking result. From then on, there's no stopping the Blob as it spreads from town to town. It's indestructible. It's indescribable. Nothing can stop it.
This town is in danger.
How can it be stopped? Mob hysteria sweeps one city. Before long, the nation, and then the world could fall before the blood-curdling threat of the Blob.
Starring Steve McQueen.
Dave! Doc Hallen's been killed.
Doc Hallen, what happened?
It's over at his place. You gotta come now.
Oh, wait a minute, Steve. Tell us what happened.
Well, I'm trying to tell you. Now, this thing had killed the doc.
Well, what was it? Stop with it, kid.
Well, it's kind of like a mass that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater. Two teenagers see it first, like a falling star from outer space.
Boy, that was close. Hey, come on. I want to see if I can find it.
An old man finds it, touches it, and this is the shocking result. From then on, there's no stopping the Blob as it spreads from town to town. It's indestructible. It's indescribable. Nothing can stop it.
This town is in danger.
How can it be stopped? Mob hysteria sweeps one city. Before long, the nation, and then the world could fall before the blood-curdling threat of the Blob.
Starring Steve McQueen.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sandy Shellis and Jennifer Hines. How are you all? We hope you liked the video that was up. We played it a couple of times so that we could get people to join and I could share. And I hear a click again with, there's always something. I hear a click with comments. I don't know why, but I don't know how to get rid of it. So we'll start our show. How are you, Jen?
I'm doing good, Sandy. How are you doing today?
Got your coffee?
Oh, yeah. Here, coffee house. Choo-choo.
Yeah, we got to remember to have coffee. Yeah. So tonight we've got a whole host of stuff about the oceans, and obviously you saw the Blob is kind of like in the news. And I'm going to let Jennifer start. Jennifer's going to tell, we have all the articles, but I don't know which order she wants to do it in, and we go back and forth. So we're going to wing it a little. I just want to tell you guys, I haven't been feeling well. That's why we didn't do it last night. I'm hanging in there. I think I might have shingles. I don't know. I've had migraines and really bad spine pain. Like there's always something wrong with me, but coming on tonight is like, makes me feel better. And I'm hoping my daughter is watching. I saw her today and I said, why don't you just watch the show?
Well,
yeah. So how's your week going?
It's going pretty good, Sandy. I came across some really good articles, and one thing sort of led to another, and now we're doing a show tonight about the oceans. So before we get started, I'm just going to give people the 30,000 foot view of where we're going tonight, so everybody kind of has an idea. So you can fasten your seatbelts because it's going to be a bumpy ride. And this first article that we're going to go over today is in the Environmental magazine, and it's called "The Myopia of Living on Land." Right?
All right,
as we know,
going to share it.
Like,
find the one we're
that's
looking
the one
for.
that we're going to go over first.
And
Right, and
which
I'll
and
tell
who's that
a
by?
little bit about that article in a minute.
Okay. I want to see which one it is.
Yeah,
What
it's the
publication?
it's in the environmental magazine. It's called The Myopia of Living on Land.
Oh, geez, I
It
don't
was
know
the
if I
first
have
one
that
I
one.
sent you. If you
Oh,
don't
well.
have it, I'll ping it over to you real quick if
Yeah,
you
why
want.
don't you? Because I
Um,
have this feeling that I don't
yeah,
have that one.
that's kind of like the central lead article. So just
Oh, great.
ping my thing up that I just sent it to you. You
All
can
right.
use that one.
Okay, I'll try to get it up. Go ahead and
Oh,
go
don't
for
say
it
that.
while I'm doing it. Go for it while I'm doing that. You do what you need to do so I can bring it up.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just give you an idea of where we're going. So the first part is the myopia of living on land. The second article that we're going to go over, and I thought
No,
you,
that's
Sandy,
not
might
gonna
want
work.
to go ahead and talk about this one, is the gigantic heat anomaly brewing in the Pacific threatens a return of the blob. And that's the blob one.
Right.
Would you like to do that one next?
Sure.
Number 3, okay, I'll give you a choice. You can do either the blob or you can do the one that says ocean warming at the rate of 5 A-bombs per second.
Oh.
There's that one.
Yeah,
You have
I
that one?
think I doubled up one. That's why we're having a problem. But
Yeah.
I can start with it's the science alert one, and that's
Yeah.
the gigantic heat anomaly brewing in the Pacific threatens a return of the blob. That
The
was a
blob,
good
right.
one.
So yeah, that was a good one. And this is all having to do with the oceans. And then there's another article we're going to talk about called Heat Wave Sweeping the Ocean Like Wildfires.
Yep, that's Guardian,
That
isn't it?
sounds kind of action packed.
Yep.
And then ocean temperatures hit record high as rate of heating accelerates. None of these articles
And
are nice, I have to tell
that's
you
the
that.
Guardian. Okay, I'm just making sure we have them.
Yep.
Go
And
ahead.
then I thought we'd do next. The Pacific Ocean is so acidic that it's dissolving the Dungeness crab shells.
Got it.
Not nice.
No.
And then the last one, ocean heat wave called the Blob has caused. You know what? Let's do this ocean heat wave called the Blob has caused the biggest seabird die-off. We'll do that right after the Blob because it's also having to do with the Blob. So
All right. I don't know
that's
if I
where we're
have them
going
all
today, guys.
up, and I had a little
That's
problem
okay.
getting them all up. I don't think anybody will mind if they don't see them all.
No, I don't think so at all. But then just
No.
in case, I pinged you a couple of things so you could get them all
What's pinged me? Pinged me through
in
Messenger?
Messenger.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hmm.
that's, yeah, I have to open it. So, which one
Oh,
do
okay.
you want to start out, or do you want me to start out?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
going to start out because this one kind of sets and this one I'm going to spend a little bit more time with, the
Okay.
myopia of living on land. And
And
the
I'll
reason
look
I'm going to
for it.
spend a little, yeah, that's the one that I just sent you.
Yeah, I'm going to
So,
look for it while you talk.
okay, it's in your messenger was the first one I sent you.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. And just to let people know, this article was given to me by Jan Wiley from the Database of Environmental Change at open-intelligence.co.uk. Very good resource for all sorts of climate change information. It is free, so drop on by and get a gander there at open-intelligence.co.uk. And Jan says, and this is about like we're in a cool phase. This was so absolutely fascinating. If this is the cool phase of the Pacific Ocean, and we're going to get into that, then a hot one is hard to imagine. The flip to hotter state is liable to coincide with the next El Nino. So this is a pretty serious article that we're reading. As always, all these articles are going to be posted in the show notes.
Do I have the right one up? The environmental magazine? Or am I on the wrong one?
Yes.
I have the right one.
You do.
Yay!
You do.
Oh my God, I did it.
Yes, yes. And I'm not going to read it word for word. It's a
Of course
pretty
not.
in-depth and long article, but I'm going to kind of skim over the salient points, the things that are really important to know. So, as usual, this is going to be a bit of a nerdy show, but I think everybody's going to enjoy it. We're going to take a deep dive into the oceans tonight. So,
Okay.
the word ocean refers to all 4 oceans and 20 seas around the world. It is absolutely enormous. It has a surface area of 196 square miles, holds 336 million cubic miles of water, and weighs 1,320 quadrillion metric tons. I have no idea how they got that measurement, but they did. What's important to know about the oceans, they're a huge carbon sink, and they've been regulating the temperature of our planet. And this kind of spells out the mechanics of it. I'm a real structuralist. I love structure. I love to find out how things are put together. So this is a real kind of structuralist mechanics article about the ocean.
Okay.
So the ocean is 1,600 times heavier than the atmosphere. Of course, that makes sense. It's water, right? And since the heat storage capacity is proportional to the mass, the ocean is storing 93% of the heat retained due to greenhouse gases. That's amazing. The atmospheric heating we have observed is due to the other 7%. So the 7% that's not part of the 93% is the only thing that's heating the atmosphere, and that's basically everything that's going into the air and the land that's not being reflected into the ocean. If the ocean had stopped absorbing heat in 1970, the average global temperature of the atmosphere today would be 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. Right? The ocean is making it possible to live on this Earth, which we know is not quite in the Goldilocks zone, right? The Earth is actually a little closer to the sun than is it ideal for a planet being in the Goldilocks zone, so to speak. So they're talking about how we don't know about that much about the ocean compared to Mars. Well, that's kind of amazing, but it's true. As the atmosphere's air conditioner, the ocean has saved us from an early demise, but its capacity to absorb heat through being a carbon sink that it is, though large, is not infinite. The warmer it gets, the more difficult it is for it to absorb heat and incidentally to absorb more carbon dioxide. So also as it gets hotter, what they're saying is hot water absorbs less carbon dioxide than cold water. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. They go into the layers of the ocean. We're not really going to talk about that, but just know that there's a surface layer, a thermocline layer, which is the mid-ocean layer, and the deep ocean layer, which doesn't really change very much. Now, what I really wanted to go over in this article is the Interdecadal Pacific Oscillation, or the IPO. You know, we all know about El Nino, we know about the AMOC. This is the big current that's in the Pacific, the IPO. So this is absolutely fascinating. The IPO is a 40 to 60 year irregular oscillation, mostly in the Pacific Basin, but with effects on temperatures around the world. You know, Pacific's absolutely huge. It's our biggest ocean. The cycle has warm to cool phases since 1920, and get these dates, those of you who have sort of memorized the heat index and everything else. This is very, very interesting. Since 1920, there have been 2 warm phases, because this is a longer period than the AMOC, right? Or it's a whole different thing than El Nino, sorry. 1924 to 1944 was a warm phase. 1977 to 1998 was another warm phase. And the 2 cool phases were 1945 to 1976 and 1999 to the present. Now, this may sound like a lot of just gobbledygook numbers, but it's really not.
Remember how everybody, I guess climate deniers, were saying, oh, well, they used to say, they don't anymore because it's not true anymore because we're up and off to the races again. But they were like, oh, well, since 1998, no global warming has happened, no heating has happened. That, in large part, is because the warm phase ended. One of the warm phases ended in 1998, and it took until well, we're still in a cool phase. So that's the thing. We've been in a cool phase since 1998, and clearly it's being buffered right now, but this thing is ready to go into a hot phase again. And that means basically the top layer of the ocean is going to be, because it kind of revolves, and the top layer of the ocean is going to be hotter soon for like 20 years at a time. So that is kind of scary. So we're in a cool phase now. During a cool phase, high winds increase the mixing of surface water and deep water. This brings colder water from the depths to the surface, which cools the atmosphere. The temperature increases that we've seen since 1999 would have been higher but for this cool IPO phase. So we're actually being buffered. We're being buffered by the Arctic sea ice. We're being buffered by the cool phase of the IPO in the Pacific Ocean. Colder water also absorbs carbon dioxide better than warm water, what we just said. So it's in a more of a carbon sink than it's going to be, which will actually make it even hotter. It enters the warm phase. And this helps with carbon dioxide building up in the atmosphere. It basically kind of buffers that off. So we've been in the present IPO cool phase for 21 years, and we will return to a warm phase at any time. Since we are still burning fossil fuels, bad, humans don't learn, at an ever faster rate, this means that when the IPO warm phase kicks in any day now, the global temperature and atmospheric carbon dioxide content will rise even faster. In addition to this, the ocean may not be giving up its heat. This will further add to the rate at which the atmosphere is warming. So what we're seeing now is that the oceans, which have been a big carbon sink, are going to get warmer and less of a carbon sink in the very near future, as soon as the IPO turns into a warm phase, which probably will, maybe next year, because it's overdue, actually. So the consequences of ocean heating, the ocean has saved us from an early demise, but it comes at a steep price. So warm ocean melts the Arctic sea ice, the Antarctic sea ice shelves, and the Greenland and Arctic ice caps, and the glaciers all around the world. They're all melting faster than expected.
And now the Thwaites, all the water under it, rushing. There's oh my gosh, it's pretty disconcerting, and they walk around like nothing's happening.
It's scary. I'm telling you, the thing is about climate change and this extreme global warming that we're seeing, it's hidden. And that's what we're going to get to here. You know, the ocean hides an awful lot of this from us, at least to the casual observer who just assumes that where they are on this globe, out of the infinite number of points in this globe where they happen to be, they think that that's the whole story. And of course, it isn't, right?
Oh. Of course not. The whole story is underneath. The whole story is where the divers and the scientists and the researchers are going. The whole story is where the data is being collected and the samples are being collected and the animals are being tested and tagged and followed. That's the real story.
Absolutely, it is. So what we're seeing is the rate at which sea levels are rising and decreases in the Earth's ability to reflect sunlight, which is its albedo, which
Yeah.
causes even more heat to be absorbed. And this is all accelerating and melting. It's accelerating the melting.
Boy.
So let's see. Yeah, I know. It's like pretty rough stuff. They go into some of the sea life, and they also make the point, which is really good to know.
Where
warmer
exactly
water.
am I? Because I
So
got lost in it.
that's okay. I'm in the second bullet that says warmer water
Okay, I
also
got it.
holds less oxygen.
We're back with it.
So I kind of skipped over the first one. I can't read the whole
Okay.
thing or we'll never get through our show, but this is a really good article. So, and this is just another structural point. Warmer water also holds less oxygen and increases the ocean stratification, which blocks the movement of oxygen-rich surface waters to lower depths. The resulting low oxygen zones are spreading, so we're getting more dead zones. Not only are the zones inhospitable to most sea creatures, they squeeze more marine life into an increasingly crowded, critical upper ocean habitat as they enlarge. As the ocean absorbs all this carbon dioxide that it is absorbing, this is basically increasing the acidification and all of the toxic microplastics that are being dumped into the ocean. This is also damaging sea life of all kinds, as we all know. So this heat and the plastics are killing the algae, which has a symbiotic relationship with coral. So this makes the coral weaker, and as the oceans get hotter, we get lots of these coral bleaching events where basically the corals are dying. We lost about half of the coral on the Great Barrier Reef in 1 year, I believe.
It was 1 year.
All it needs is
Oh my God.
just incredible.
1 year.
They say that basically all the coral reefs are going to be gone by 2050. For sure.
And I don't know. I saw some divers talking about that, all of these efforts that are trying to be done might reap some rewards. So, you got to, I keep that little shred of hope that some of these scientists can make some progress and, at least for the short term, they're not going to stop working on it, right, Jen? No. And there's a lot of amazing people dedicated to this.
There's a lot to do. And, I'm a big believer in mitigating and plans and doing something. Don't just sit on your ass and say, well, we can't do anything, so let's just deny it, which really frustrates me. So I think just to kind of finish this article up, and then I'll turn it over to you, Sandy, for the blob. The 90% of the heat that has gone into the ocean is a ticking time bomb, right? Just because it's taken in all of this heat doesn't mean it's going to keep it inside.
Right.
At some point, it's going to start, emitting it. We do not know when the air conditioner will shut down or turn into a global heater. When it does, so that's kind of a sure thing. They don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. When it does, the game will abruptly change, and the future that deniers have scoffed at will come into clear focus. But what will we do then?
What will we do then?
Sounds
good question.
No.
So let's just say a few hellos tonight before I go on. Lori Root Riley's here from Facebook. Hi, Lori. And Kent Deal and Book Hermit and Kim Centino are one of our mods, and Ed Gareese. Hi, Ed. No hope for me, he says. There isn't. Not for my spine anyway. Bio's here. And let's see, did I miss anybody? Matt Nelson and Anthropomorphic Facsimile. And Moose Gal, thank you for caring about my health, which sucks. Mike Olinger, Hans Asperger, and Janice Wright. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And Shurahana's here. Shurahana, she says, hey, Shurahana, you may. She's amazing. Everybody's here.
Awesome.
I think Torstein's here also, somewhere hiding with his new name. And, and it's cute. It's cute. It's cute. All right. So I'm going to start with this one, which is from Science Alert. And I'll share it with you to start because, of course, when I made my video this tonight, the video for this, the blob was on my
Which
mind.
was awesome, by the way.
You
I
like
like that
that-
video that
You like
made
that
tonight. It was great.
blob stuff?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
All right. Gigantic heat anomaly brewing in the Pacific threatens a return of the blob. Now, it's not really funny. I mean, it's really actually pretty freaking sad. A menacing heat wave is brewing, and this was from September, so I don't think from September to February things have changed all that much. It was brewing in the Pacific Ocean, and it got scientists worried about the return of that blob. 5 years ago, about a huge patch of unusually warm water appeared off the coast of North America, stretching from Mexico's Baja, California Peninsula, all the way up to Alaska. I know we were all talking about this then, when this first came out in September. And it was nicknamed the Blob after the horror film monster that consumes everything in sight. The heat wave, and I'm reading, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not as prepared as Jennifer. The heat wave, which lasted for several years, was an equally indiscriminate killer. According to estimates, during this time, the southern coast of Alaska lost more than 100 million Pacific cod. That is a huge amount of death of these animals.
Oh my God.
And think about, they all have to deteriorate in the ocean. They're dying.
Not only that, but it removes an entire strata from the food system, right?
Absolutely. And it's
Those
not,
were part.
it's really, yep. All right. So let me get back here. Thousands of seabirds were found washed up on the shore. And about, this makes me want to cry. And about 500,000 were decimated in total. In 1 year alone, populations of humpback whales dropped by 30%. Salmon, sea lions, krill, and other marine animals also vanished in astonishing numbers as the toxic algae bloomed. This blob caused ecosystems and industries alike immense losses. Jennifer, is it still happening? Do we have to get some updates on that? Because it's got to be. These things don't go away so fast, right? And the NOAA are closely tracking it, and these events. The current heat wave, they say, has not only popped up in the same area, it has grown in much the same way and is almost the same size. Side by side, a comparison of both their early stages is ominous. Like the blob, the current marine heat wave emerged only a few months ago as the winds that cool the ocean surface began to die down. So given the magnitude of what we saw last time, we want to know if this evolves on a similar path, says marine ecologist Chris Harvey from the Northwest Fisheries Center. And this was as the blob started to take shape. So obviously it's still happening. Obviously the blob is
those
not...
things don't dissipate. Not that quickly. And look at the difference with that graphic that you have up, Sandy. Look at that difference between September 2014 and September 2019. I remember when this thing hit in September of 2014, and it was around for a long time. It caused so much sea death. Birds, animals, fishes, all kinds of things. And it also caused a drought, as I recall, in California. You remember that?
This did.
So I bet it's messing with it again, although we don't have a drought going on right now in California, which is good. So, this is like we're constantly learning how these things affect the environment, but this big buildup of heat is super, super concerning.
It's very concerning. I want to read a quick comment from someone. Hi, Tom. Tom, I've never been the type, he says, to get sucked into doomsday prophecies. And I do my very best to be optimistic, but I don't see how we can turn this around. Let's hope time will make a fool out of me. You know what? Let's hope time will make a fool out of all of us. So let me get back to
Absolutely.
this. You know, Tom, that was good, and you're new, so welcome to our channel. Or I don't know, maybe you're somebody else with a different name. So researchers tracking this phenomenon say that patch of ocean water is now roughly 5 degrees Fahrenheit above normal, just a degree or two less than temperatures during that last blob. And then the deep upwells of cold water have kept the heat wave from reaching the shore, but officials predict the event will likely have an impact on coastal ecosystems sometime this northern hemisphere fall. And so that's going to be, this was last year, so that was already happening.
Hmm.
So actually I didn't find anything to, and maybe guys, if you can help me in the chat, if you find something, I might let you put a link up, or
Yeah.
give it to Kim and she'll put a link up.
Well, actually, Sandy, the next article we're going to go over was just from the 17th of January. And it's
Oh,
an
okay.
update on the blob. So we actually
Forgive
do have an
me.
update. So this is kind of like part
I
one of the
screwed
blob,
it
and then
up.
this is part two of the blob.
I screwed it
Yeah.
up.
So
Okay.
tell me when you're done.
All right. I'm just going to go right down and really quickly how the NOAA researchers are focused on tracking. And forgive me, Jennifer. I knew that was there. I completely, what is it? Brain fart. The NOAA are focused on tracking, predicting, and mitigating the effects of these marine heat waves. So during the last blob, for instance, a lot of whales died by getting trapped in fishing nets, and the animals moved closer to shore to avoid the warmer waters. There are definitely concerning implications for the ecosystem, says NOAA meteorologist Nick Bond, who's credited with naming the blob. It's all a matter of how long it lasts and how deep it goes. And I will find the next one while you are segueing into it. It is the
Sure.
who is it by?
It's the one with the pictures of the poor little sea birds that died, and it's called
where
Giant
is it?
Ocean Heat Wave called the Blob.
Oh,
Has
I
caused
got
the
it.
biggest seabird
Oh no,
die-off on
that's not the
record. So
one.
this is kind of Blob update. So that
Oh
was from
shit.
September. So this is like a few months later in January, mid-January. So this one
Okay, I
came out
have to
fairly
find it.
recently.
You start with it because I don't. And who's it by? What?
It's Science Alert as well.
Okay. All right. Start with it, and I will bring it up.
Sure.
Forgive me.
So this is the consequences of the blob. Scientists have reported on another devastating biological disaster caused by a patch of abnormally warm water in the Pacific Ocean known as the blob. This concentrated marine heat wave lingered in the Pacific Northwest this is blob.1, right? Between 2013 and 2016. That was blob.1. And researchers now think it was largely responsible for the death of almost 1 million common moors. I think that's how you say those seabird name. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh,
Amongst
MERS.
other wildlife.
Yeah. I've got it up, by
MERS,
the way.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. This makes it the largest seabird die-off in recorded history. So this is very, very sad. But, you know, when you take away that whole strata of fish, that's basically the food for all these sea creatures and all these birds, you know. The estimate is based on some 62,000 murs that washed ashore on the west coast of the United States during 2015 and 16. So this is blob.1, stretching from an area of California to Alaska. The emaciated birds, oh, this is very, very sad.
It is sad.
The emaciated birds, so sad. I feel so sad. I feel sad for these animals and everything that we've done to this earth. It's horrible. It's almost too hard to read it. The emaciated birds were left starved by lack of food caused by increased competition in the warmer waters, according to scientists. So these guys lost out. And they just came up on the coast, and numerous other species may have been hit hard by the same confluence of factors. We believe that the smoking gun for common murres beyond marine heatwave itself was the ecosystem squeeze. Fewer fish, fewer forage fish, and smaller prey in general. At the same time, competition for big fish predators like walleye, pollock, and Pacific cod greatly increased. So this really caused a huge die-off of sea creatures. And let's see, let me kind of skip down to the bottom, Sandy, because I don't want to spend all this time on this because we got a couple articles still to go through. This is the last, second to last paragraph. Similar blobs of heated ocean water are now forming across the globe. So this blob phenomena is not relegated strictly to Alaska, British Columbia, and off the coast of California. It's happening all over where they can, threatening to impact marine wildlife further. As the research behind this latest study are concerned, this toll taken on the murre population is a warning of what's to come as climate change takes its hold. In other words, the next die-off could be even worse. So they're predicting that there's going to be something similar happening with this blob as a whole bunch of fish have died. The magnitude and scale of this failure has no precedent. It was astonishing and alarming, and a red flag warning about the tremendous impact sustained ocean warming can have on the ecosystem. Is
it's awful. I know. But we are Saturday Night Doom. We can't even call it Saturday Night Live, but the thing is, if we don't talk about it, who's talking about it? I mean, everybody in the United States is talking about Bernie, and I'm thrilled. Yay, Bernie won New Hampshire. We are like thrilled. Woohoo! Okay, we can party about that, and I'm happy. But somebody has to go over this stuff, and I guess we're just as good as any and to go over this with you because, and of course, Antonio, articulate as all hell. Antonio and Nicholas did their show. What was it, Thursday night? It was very good.
Such a good job.
Of course, of course. This team is fantastic, and we love each other. We really love each other. It's true love, family.
That's the thing that I love. And Sandy, I have to tell you, you are the glue. You are the love that holds us together. Don't deny it, girl. It's true.
And you guys are you keep me going. And I know we're going to get a little violinish, but I have a very difficult life, and you keep me going. It's not a feel sorry, a victim thing. I always say that. It's just right now it's very difficult, and illness and blah blah blah. And if I didn't have this to do, and now Jennifer, you have given me something that I have to do. It doesn't take much time, but it gives, and it's good for me, and I don't give in to myself. And I want to thank you and everybody here, because I guess I'm in that mood because I've been sick and I don't know yet if I have shingles, if this is shingles, whatever it is. But thank you, and let's go to the next article. Sandra's saga is over. But, one of these days I will be...
Your saga may be over, but your reading is not. Because you are going to take away the next one.
All right,
and if
now...
you can find this article...
Which one?
This is an article that came out in Futurism at futurism.com. And this is the one...
Scientists ocean warming.
Scientists ocean warming at the rate of 5 A-bombs per second. I thought you'd like to take this one away.
All right.
This is like
shut our names off. I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
By the way, it's gone up from 4 A-bombs per second, which it used to be when I did the Methane Monster series. It was at the rate of 4 A-bombs per second. Now it's at the rate of 5 A-bombs per second. Yeah, that polynomial trend line. Okay, I'll shut up.
Right? No, that was a good one. I like that. The polynomial trend line. So I do it like I'm talking like this is Kristen Hauser, the author, but I'm Kristen. So after analyzing data from the 1950s through 2019, an international team of scientists determined that the average temperature of the world's oceans in 2019 was 0.0 0.075 degrees Celsius, which is 0.135 degrees Fahrenheit. That's higher than the 1981 and 2010 average. Sounds like such a little bit, but just a little bit, right, can wreak havoc, especially on systems of, fish systems, animal systems. That might not seem like a significant amount of warming, but given the massive volumes of the oceans, an increase, even that small, would require a staggering influx of heat. 228 sextillion joules worth, according to the scientist study, which was published in the journal Advances in Atmospheric Sciences on Monday. That's a hard number to contextualize. So one of the scientists behind the study did the math to put it into an explosive frame of reference by comparing it to the amount of energy released by the atomic bomb the United States military dropped on Hiroshima, Japan in 1945. Now, that Hiroshima atom bomb exploded with an energy of about 63 gazillion, and I'm saying it facetiously, joules.
I think it's
63 billion?
trillion, but it's hard.
Trillion?
I think it's trillion. I think
I
so.
like saying gazillion.
Gazillion is good because
I mean,
you can't
it's
even
so
comprehend.
big. Yeah.
You can't comprehend it. 63
right.
gazillion joules.
It's unbelievable. Okay, wait. Okay, so author Li Jingsheng from the Chinese Academy of Sciences said in a press release, the amount of heat we have put in the world's oceans in the past 25 years equals 3.6 billion Hiroshima atom bomb explosions. I think we put this in Environmental Coffee House. This is important stuff to understand.
This
is what gets the lay person. Somebody that doesn't understand any of this understands Hiroshima. And especially the old veterans. They understand that. And maybe, you use this kind of discussion to have them understand what the heck is going on in the oceans. That's a language. Sometimes we have to speak their language. So the average is out to 4 bombs worth of energy entering the oceans every second for the past 25 years. But even more troubling, the rate isn't holding steady at that alarming figure. It's increasing. So in 2019, ocean warming was equivalent to about 5 Hiroshima bombs of heat every second. Day and night, 365 days a year, study author John Abraham from University of St. Thomas in Minnesota told Vice. And in case atomic bombs are still too abstract of a comparative unit, the 2019 rate is equivalent to every person on Earth constantly pointing 100 air dryers at the oceans. So billions of people, 7 billion people and 7 billion hair dryers at the ocean. Now there's a visual. I have to make a meme of that one.
700 billion hair dryers. Each person has 100 hair dryers. Or almost 800 billion hair dryers. The whole thing. I mean, they're just trying to get across this is big.
Whoa.
And trying to put it into things that we can understand,
Yeah. Well,
trying to pictorialize it.
The less technical term is, it's a shit ton of energy, he said. And it's already having huge impact on the environment. The ice is melting faster, which causing sea levels to rise. Dolphins and other marine life are dying because they can't adapt quickly enough. Even the increase in the amount of water evaporating into the atmosphere due to heat is negatively impacting our planet. This makes hurricanes and typhoons more powerful, and it makes rainfall more intense, Abraham told Vice. It puts our weather on steroids. And remember, the rate is increasing, meaning that every moment we delay taking action to slow or reverse the warming, the situation is only going to get worse. It's only going to
That's
get
heartbreaking.
worse. And we know this. And those of you that follow us, a lot of you, of course, know that. But we need to tell people in layman's terms. So if we can help you to figure out how to tell people in layman's terms when you meet up with them. What did Book Hermit say? Wait till they shut down the Summer Olympics. Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Well,
That's
the
pretty
Winter
wild.
Olympics are going to get shut down before the Summer Olympics. Did you see the last Winter Olympics? They hardly had any snow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And now, Hey Jude says, yep, shutting down the Olympics is inevitable now. Boy, I'm
Yeah,
glad all
and
these
the
things,
NFL.
like,
How long do you think it's going to be before they shut down the NFL?
or at least playing
That
in the
carbon
South.
hog.
They can't play outside.
Yeah,
It's too
it's going
hot,
to happen.
right? It's going to be too hot. Oh, gosh. Um, 9899 Big Boss says, well, in layman's terms, there's no hope. That's the long term. But for today and tomorrow, there's hope for Bernie to win and today and tomorrow because we're not dead yet. So let's go on.
Not dead yet.
Hoople says no one wants the Winter
All the
Olympics.
Monty Python,
Yeah,
fans out there. If anybody remembers that, not dead yet.
not dead yet. No. Now what happened to all the Facebook people? All right, there was one by Kim. You know what? These comments are crazy, but anyway, let's go on and you tell me which one is the next one and I'll pull it up.
Okay. So the next one we're going to cover, it's a little bit older, but I wanted to get all the ocean. This one is an 11-month-old article, but
All
with
right.
the ocean, it doesn't really go out of date,
Right.
right? So I'm trying to bring all the ocean articles together so we understand the severity of the crisis that's happening to our oceans
Yeah,
right
don't let her
now.
fool you.
And
She
it's
does all the work.
because it's so hidden, you almost have to beat yourself over the head with it, right?
Right. So which
Because
one?
we don't live in the ocean. We live in
No.
heat waves sweeping the oceans like wildfires,
Got it.
scientists reveal.
All right, we're
This is
up.
from Guardian.
And
Okay,
we're
cool.
up and our
And that's
hands
a
are down.
pretty article. And
Look at
there's
that
one
beautiful
thing I want to
graphic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It is
Mhm.
gorgeous. And there are some graphics and good pictures throughout here. And I'm just scrolling down and you just do whatever you want to, Sandy, but there are some really good graphics here to look at.
Are
So
you
the number
reading
of
it?
heat waves,
Okay.
I'm just starting to. The
All
number
right.
of heat waves affecting the planet's oceans has increased sharply, scientists have revealed, killing swaths of sea life like wildfire that might take out a huge area of forest. The damage caused in these hotspots, that hotspot concept again, is also harmful for humanity. No, we don't care about anybody else but ourselves. But if we
Right.
could at least care about ourselves, we might be able to have some impact,
There you go. Let's care
which
about ourselves.
relies, I know, right? We can't even be selfish enough to care about ourselves. We're too insane. Seriously, there's
Yeah,
psychosis
seriously.
has taken hold of humanity at large. I'm sure everybody on this call will agree, which relies on oceans for oxygen, food, storm protection, and the removal of climate warming carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Global warming is gradually increasing the average temperature of the oceans, but new research is the first systematic global analysis of ocean heat waves when the temperatures reach extremes for 5 days or more. And you can see, like, Sandy, if you could put that graphic up with like the red blister there, right?
Is that the one?
I think so. The first one,
Yeah.
and you could see how much ocean. This is a additional heat wave days in 1987 to 2016 compared to 1925 to 1954. So these are where the heat is really sticking, and it's that blister right across the Pacific that really grabs my eye.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And this is, of course, the same path where the El Nino goes too when it does its heat thing. So pretty interesting. The research found heat waves are becoming more frequent, prolonged, and severe, with the number of heat wave days tripling in the last couple of years studied. In the longer term, the number of heat wave days jumped by more than 50% in the 30 years to 2050. The number of heat wave days jumped by more than 50%. What? I mean, that's like magnitudes, right? Compared with the period of 1925 to 1954. So the heat wave days numbers are just going up and up and up. As heat waves have increased, kelp forests, seagrass meadows, and coral reefs have been lost. These foundation species are critical to life in the ocean. They provide shelter and food to many others, but have been hit on coasts from California to Australia to Spain. You have heat wave induced wildfires that take out huge areas of forest, but this is happening underwater as well. You see kelp and seagrass dying in front of you. Within weeks or months, they are just gone, along with hundreds of kilometers of coastline, along hundreds of kilometers of coastline. So the point of it is it's so damn fast, right? It's just so scary because, all those coral, like half the Great Barrier Reef just got wiped out from one ocean heat wave, kind of like scary. Let's see, we probably should move right along and not dive any deeper into this article. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the time, and I'll let you take the next one if you want to, and then we might want to tie it up. We'll see.
Okay.
The next one is
Excuse me.
ocean temperatures hit record high as rate of heating accelerates, and this is actually a brand new one.
Yeah.
Pretty new.
All right, let's see. I got it up.
Guardian.
This is the Guardian from the 13th of January, and I got to shut down the chat for a minute so I can see what I'm doing. This one, oceans are clearest measure of climate crisis as they absorb 90% of the heat trapped by the greenhouse gases. So you see, we are on the ocean trajectory. The heat in the world's oceans reached a new record level in 2019, showing irrefutable and accelerating heating of the planet. The world's oceans are the clearest measure of the climate emergency because of the fact that they absorb the 90% of the heat trapped by the greenhouse gases emitted by fossil fuel burning and forest destruction and other activities, human activities. The new analysis shows the past 5 years are also the top 5 warmest years recorded in the ocean, and the past 10 years are also the top 10 years on record. The amount of heat being added to the oceans is equivalent to every person on the planet running 100 microwave ovens all day and all night. You notice how each of these articles is trying to give some kind of analogy so that somebody could take some of these and give it to the layperson and use these little comparisons for arguments. I like that. I'm going to cut and paste some of these on my phone so I can argue with somebody next time, or at least try to teach them. Hotter oceans lead to more severe storms, and they disrupt the water cycle, meaning more floods, droughts, wildfires, as well as inexorable rise in sea level. Higher temperatures also are harming life in the seas. Listen, what I'm going to do is go down because we found in 2019 that was not only the warmest year on record, it displayed the largest single year increase of the entire decade. A sobering reminder that human-caused heating of our planet continues unabated, said Professor Michael Mann at Penn State. And here's this is the way you can see on this graph, 18 to 2000 in now, of course, jetazouls. But of course, we are lay persons. You see it going up. End of story. Do you want to just talk about it?
Yeah, and I want you to hold on that graphic because it's really interesting and it's worth another look. So you guys see how it goes from 1940 to basically 2020.
Yep.
And look at the angle from 1940 to 1980. It's kind of at a steady angle, right? And then it jumps to a steeper angle after 1980, and then after 2000 it jumps even to a more steep angle. So what this means is that we're getting a curve, right? It's not a straight line.
Right.
And so that's the scary thing about this, guys, because everything in climate change is exponential, and we're seeing that in the ocean as well.
It is exponential. There's exponential everything. Okay. So they had this analysis which was published in the Journal of Advances in Atmospheric Sciences using ocean data from every available source. Well, I'd have to look at what every available source is. Most data is from 3,800 free drifting Argo floats, which must be these things. Oh, these are bleached corals. Oh my God. Dispersed across the oceans, but also from torpedo-like bathothermographs dropped from ships in the past. The results that show heat increasing at an accelerating rate, and as the greenhouse gases accumulate in the atmosphere. The rate from 1987 to 2019 is, wow, 4.5 times faster from 55 to 86. The vast majority of oceans regions are showing an increase in thermal energy too. Just wonderful. The energy drives bigger storms, more extreme weather, said Abraham. And when the world and the oceans heat up, it changes the way rain falls and evaporates also. There's a general rule of thumb that drier areas are going to become drier and wetter areas are going to become wetter, which is what Nicholas says all the time, and rainfall will happen in bigger downspurts. That's what he said the other night. And that's the the coral in the Great Barrier Reef. And those that argue, there are a whole group of deniers, by the way, that it was reminding me of. They're divers that will show healthy parts, and they have actually said, oh, there's absolutely nothing wrong and everything's coming back. I've seen the videos, so maybe if I can find one, I'll link it. I don't know if they still have them up, but so
Those deniers get me, Sam. They just get me.
I've done my videos on the Heartland Institute, morons.
Yeah.
So we know hotter oceans also expand and melt ice with the sea level. I want to look. Okay, the upper levels of the ocean are vital for the marine biodiversity, as they support some of the most productive and rich ecosystems on Earth. And warming of this magnitude will dramatically impact this. We all know. And so these new analysis that they have, they assess the heat in the top 2,000
meters.
Meters, that's right. Meters. Science was a long time ago. Of the ocean, as this is where most of the data is collected. It is also where the vast majority of the heat accumulates and where most marine life lives. So this is the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing. They're doing this. They're using this. Hopefully they're not... Beijing, I don't know how far it is from Wuhan, and I hope that the virus isn't affecting all the researchers that were doing such amazing things in China. I'm sure that somebody's going to have that, but I'm not going to finish the whole thing. I did finish the whole thing. So the data we have is
irrefutable. You pretty much finished it.
And because we still have hope, because humans can still take action, but we just haven't taken any meaningful action yet. What does that mean? WASF.
Okay, it's the bullshit whitewashing that happens at the end of
every article.
It drives me crazy.
Oh my God.
And it's just like, all this bad shit is happening, but we still have hope, and we just haven't taken meaningful action. Well, get off the, take a shit or get off the pot. I'm sorry,
really. Let's see who's still with us from Facebook. I don't have any chats. Well, do we have any more articles, or are we going to talk to everybody before we're kind of done?
We're kind of at the top of the hour, because we could probably try and jam another article in, but it's not really worth it. I think we've
the
kind of
Fast Company one was a good one.
Oceans are in trouble.
Yeah, that Fast Company. I want to just show it. Really quick, though. We had this ocean is hot, as if we dropped 3.6 billion atomic bombs. You get the drift. It's going to be the same kind of comparison, so people can say atomic bombs instead of, same thing. Just wanted to show it to you. All right, then I'm going to close out the articles, and I'm going to pull up some, I'm closing it out. Goodbye. Okay, I'm going to open up some comments and see what's going on out here. Trish Kaiser says, chance of El Nino in 2020. We have an chance.
I don't know.
That would have been
I don't know. Does anybody know if an El
mm-mm.
Nino is forming or what's going on with
Yeah,
that? I'm
Mike
not really up on
Olinger,
that right now.
he's watching on Facebook. Mike, do you know? Because
Mhm.
Nicholas is the guy that, definitely if Nicholas was here, he'd rattle off everything about this going on. So, but he's not here. So let's see. The trends are clear. Hoople says, we are dead in a decade, but no one gives a damn as long as Bloomberg can keep earning his money. Hoople's cat, by the way, does Corona COVID-19 updates on his channel. And he's pretty good. I put one up on, I love him anyway, him and his wife, Kitty. They're so sweet. But I'll put a link to his latest video and probably a link to that if you're interested in COVID-19, which I think everybody should be. I'll put up a link to Chris Martinson too, because his last video, I mean, he's starting to get hundreds of thousands of people watching his videos. And Chris says he's going between, Chris is in England. He waits up. He stays up. He sets his alarm to come on to see. He's fitting between Facebook and DoomTube. Oh my God. And Kim, thank you for moderating. She's one of the moderators. I can't tell. It's very hard to tell who all the moderators. But Hooples, thank you very much. And see now, Book Hermit, of course, he says 5 degrees C would be better because Book Hermit, he's of that mindset. Let's get rid of everybody. Humans are a scourge. Let's get rid of them now. Blah, blah, blah. And I can't answer to that because I'm not a scourge. My daughter's not a scourge. You're not a scourge, Book Hermit. Jennifer's not a scourge, I mean, there are good people. And I don't feel the same way. But I love people. I just know that we're going to go. Right, Jen? Are you there? Jennifer, you're not frozen, right?
Okay. Now
Okay.
I can hear you again. Okay.
Oh,
It's been
something
going
happened.
in and out for me quite a bit, so
I'm
I've just been
sorry.
waiting till I could hear you again.
Echoes of Naught said,
So,
great show, gals. Well, you didn't hear much but me just blab on about, usual stuff. And how, and Rick says the most powerful thing a person could do on their own is to go vegan. Well, we grow all our vegetables and process them. I'm not there yet, but I've been working on trying to change, and Shahana knows that. Time to prep, she says. Jennifer, you're a
yeah,
prepper. You
definitely.
understand that.
I am. Well,
Well,
I've had
talk
this
about it a
vision
little.
for a long, long time, and people used to think I was absolutely insane. The first time I ordered a big lot of food, there were like 14 boxes this huge, like as huge,
And I
and they
saw
were
them. I was at
heavy.
her house.
And the UPS, that's right, they're all there. I show
Yep.
people my food. And then the UPS man came by and he's like, what's with this wacky lady, and he's like putting all 14 of these huge food boxes in my house. And he's like, what's all this? And I'm like, it's food. And he goes, you think we're going to run out of food? And I just looked him straight in the eye and said, not yet.
Right? How long does that stuff last?
30 years. My stuff's
Okay.
all freeze-dried.
All right. Because you had quite,
Yeah.
what a
Hopefully I'll never
setup.
have to use it.
And you have solar panels, and you have quite a
I
setup.
do.
Quite a setup. And
Yeah.
I mean, we have a setup, but we just don't have everything we need because I can't afford everything we need. I would like to, but I can't. We were talking about that today with my daughter, and because my thoughts are always getting this totally off the grid, totally self-sufficient. So if the shit hits the fan, for however long they can come here. But they're talking about moving to Virginia.
Yeah.
They want to move to Richmond, Virginia. They think that they're sick of snow, and I'm like, you're going to be sick of heat. You're not going to be able to do anything in 5 years outside. But she doesn't want to listen. It's okay.
No.
I don't know why they're so unhappy in Buffalo. It's a great town, but they've been there, They've been there for a long time, and I think they're ready for a change. Of course, I'm not going to tell my grown daughter what not to do. Of course not. I'll just go down there, and she'll have a spare bedroom for me. Let's see. Wait. Torstein says he's second level vegan. So there's levels of veganism. I'm vegetarian, but I still eat chicken and eggs. So I guess that's vegetarian. I'm doing keto with that and vegetables, but I haven't been doing very well. I think that the stress in my life has not let me I can't do that. Let's see. Going to have to eat anything with calories once the food runs out. Well, we're going to have to pick berries and learn how to eat. The locusts can be eaten. The locusts over there.
Well, there you go.
There were people
food problem
talking.
solved.
Yeah, food problem solved
That and a
over
little
there where the
Soylent
locust
Green
problem.
do ya.
And Darlene, thank you for coming. She says, stay safe, safe, everyone. We're 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I'm going to close with I'm only going to play it once. For those of you who did not see the video, we're going to close with the video. Thank you all for coming. And I'm going to put the video on in like 2 seconds, okay? So I just have to put one little funny little, of course, Book Hermit says, enjoys lots of meat, because he always has to go against. Oh, wait, Anthony Davis says chocolate covered locust. How do you know we're going to have chocolate left? They got to grow,
That's right.
I don't think there's going to be chocolate left. All right, Jen,
I think you're
before
just going
we
to have
go,
to toast them.
this has been Jennifer Hines and Sandy Shellis. And it's been a great night for me because I needed it, and I needed you, and I needed learning and reading and doing. Mwah, I love you. Peace. And the video's going to go on now. Enjoy. And we really love you all. Thank you. Enjoy, and let's be really quiet because for some reason I can't turn the mics off. Here we go.
Dave! Doc Hallen's been killed.
Doc Hallen, what happened?
It's over at his place. You gotta come now.
Now, wait a minute, Steve. Tell us what happened.
Well, I'm trying to tell you. Now, this thing had killed the doc.
But what was it? Stop with it, kid.
But it's kind of like a mass that keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's...
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater. Two teenagers see it first, like a falling star from outer space.
Boy, that was close. Hey, come on. I want to see if I can find it.
An old man finds it, touches it, and this is the shocking result. From then on, there's no stopping the Blob as it spreads from town to town. It's indestructible. It's indescribable. Nothing can stop it.
This town is in danger.
How can it be stopped? Mob hysteria sweeps one city. Before long, the nation, and then the world could fall before the blood-curdling threat of the Blob.
Starring Steve McQueen.